Test 1, 2. Hello, hello. I'm playing with my toys again. It has taken me half an hour to get the webcam going. Because earlier, it doesn't sound like an echo, so I'm taking the headset off. Or earphones, or whatever you call them. Since the last time I saw you, I am trying to get a system going where the background disappears and other pictures come up instead. Well, I found online programs where you could do that. And I thought it was free. It was only free to try, and you have all these things floating around in the picture, so you really can't use it. But it was only like $25 for 3 months, so I went, okay. So I ordered it, and then I went through the process of trying to get rid of a lot of this stuff. Come to find out, my camera is too old. I have a Logitech 600 something. And what they were using started at 900. So I broke down, and even though I don't really have the money, I ordered a new one. It'll be here in about 3 days. So after fooling around with all of this stuff, then I had to go back and unfool around with what I'd been fooling around with and get back to the original setup. So I think I am, as far as I can tell. I don't know. Well, hi, Anarchy. How are you doing today? I hope you're I hope you're inside. I'll just call you Steel. Hi, Steel. I hope you're having a good day too. It's really hot here. We meaning me and my critters are in it's 3 in your city. -3. Oh my goodness, then I'm not going to complain about it being in the 90s here. Well, actually, I am, because I could hardly breathe outside because it's very oppressive. Good grief. I'm up in northern Ohio. Where are you? -3. Let's see. That's gotta be way north somewhere. South Eurabia? I'm afraid I'm not familiar with that. Is that, where is that? Wish I had a globe. I'd sit here and start spinning it and looking for it. Middle Eastern? You must be in the mountains somewhere. It's a state in California? Boy, am I bad with geography. Okay. Is there another country called California? We're having a geography lesson here. Okay. It's real easy to pull my leg. I'd put it up here, but I don't have the flexibility to do that. So anyway, yeah, I'm confused too. So is it really -3 where you're at? I don't need to know where you're at, but is it really -3? I got to go see my nephew today. Hadn't seen him in a few months. He invited me and my oldest son over for pizza and chili dogs. And we sat down and we ate chili dogs, and my son had pizza as well, and chocolate cake for dessert. So it was real nice. And while we're eating, we're watching a YouTuber. What is chili dog? Chili dog is a hot dog that you put chili on it. And then you sprinkle a little bit of like cheddar cheese, shredded cheddar cheese on it. I think it's cheddar, isn't it? I'm still burping from it. And you eat it in a bun. Pretty good. Usually when I make... Okay, I'm getting sidetracked here. But I make chili the same time that I make spaghetti sauce, because I separate, have the spaghetti sauce simmering, and I take part of it and set it aside, and I add chili beans and kidney beans and chili spices to it and let it simmer and get nice and tender. And then I can either have chili, or if I don't have a lot left, then I can have chili dogs. So that's how that goes. Yemen? It is pretty good. It is pretty good. So yeah, I was having chili dogs with I have a feeling it came from a can. My nephew is like early 20s, and he has some learning disabilities, and I didn't ask, but I'm pretty sure it came from a can. But it was still good, whatever he used. And you still have to add roast beef to it usually. So while we were eating, there was the three of us at the table, and then he had his laptop sitting there, and he was watching with my son when I got there, a YouTuber who is a bit off, but he does, what's it called? Boot and reboot, boot or reboot, or something like that. And what he does is he reviews movies, sequels, and what's it called? A reboot? No, what's it called? A remake. That's it. We watched the remake of his critique of Psycho, his critique of... We didn't watch too much of it, but Amityville Horror, the remake of that. We watched the remake of The Shining, I think is what was playing when I came in, and the remake of The Nutty Professor. And he gives his critique and, says what he thinks worked with it, what didn't work with it, what was better than the original, what was, you really wasted your time on this. And he acts like a psycho. I mean, he's got bandage around his head and his mouth. And according to my nephew, there's the good one and the bad one. And when he talks in real high-pitched voice, that's the good guy. That's okay, Anarchy. My English isn't very good either. Boot and reboot. Maybe I should look it up. Maybe I should check and see if I can find it. Let me go to my my YouTube page. And I'll type in boot. I wonder if it's and reboot. Boot and reboot. Nope. That's not the right way to go. How about boot or reboot? There it is. Oh, it's boots, plural. BOOTS, 2 reboots, BREBOOTS. Movie remake reviews. Let's see if I can do this. The online browsing. Yes, here we are. Let me bring it up a little bit stronger. This is the guy. He's strange. But he's funny. And he actually does a really good job of it. Jaws. He gets a little off color sometimes and does some. Oh, wait a minute. You can't see this. I forgot to do this. I can't think and talk at the same time. He's real good at talking about no, don't need that. He's real good at talking about the script, the acting, the directing. No, don't need that. He's real good at talking about the script, the acting, the direct. You don't need me in stereo. So anyway, it was funny. It's entertaining. He's offbeat. He can be off color. You got to watch out for that. But he tends to. He's pretty smart about it. He's not just running off the mouth like some people do. He seems to be pretty knowledgeable. So it was interesting. It was fun. It was different. So I got to go out. Once I stepped outside to let my dog out before I went, it was like, oh, do I really want to go? Because it was like 97, but it felt like over 100. And the air quality was pretty bad. So that wasn't fun. Okay, did everybody go away? Did I screw things up? I might have. I might have. Oh well. I've done that before. No surprise here. So I want to thank Steel and Anarchy for stopping in. I think I might have disconnected us when I was bopping around. I don't know. It takes me forever to figure these things out. Stuff. So anyway, I did that and I decided, well, I really needed to fix everything because I was trying to do those other things. I'm looking forward to getting the programs, the new camera, so that I can do better programs. Or at least it'll look better. Who knows if the audio is going to be correct? Who knows if the lighting is going to be correct? Because I have problems doing all of those things. Consistency is not my thing. Um, so it's a learning game, and for me, it's a learning curve and pain. The pain, I tell you, it's a pain. I have been reading a book called In Search of the Loving God, and it's really interesting. Some of the questions I've been wondering about is, okay, how did we get from the Gospels to now? When did, like, the Roman Catholic Church, for some reason in my sketchy brain, I was thinking that that Peter was like the first pope, because Jesus says, "Upon this rock I will build my church." Well, it turns out that church wasn't exactly the correct translation from the Greek. The Greek word is ekklesia, and an ecclesia is a ruling council. So he was talking about, in those days, they had councils, Roman councils in every area or city. And when you had a problem, when you had a concern, you would go to the council, address it. It'd be like our commissioners, I think, in modern day. And you would, plead your case and what the situation was, and then they would address it and fix it and, resolve it. So what Jesus was saying, upon this rock being Peter, he would be the first of his ecclesia, his first holy ruling council, in that they met in each other's homes. He didn't like how some of the established religious groups contaminated, I guess you could say, like the temples and stuff. He threw a fit because of the money changers. And so his original concept was, forget about these churches and cults and stuff. You're going to be the beginning of my ecclesia, my ruling council, my holy council. So it was like, okay. So that answered that question. So when did the Roman Catholic Church come in? I've been a Baptist, I've been Pentecostal, I've been the Way, I've been Roman Catholic, and I'm sure there's like 3 other things in there somewhere. But in my most impressionable years, I guess, from grades 6 through 8, yeah, I attended a Catholic church. So, there's a lot of energy there, because it's not just church on Sundays, it's, every day you're being involved. So it never really occurred to me to think about that. At one point, it dawned on me, now wait a minute. We would, our sermons and stuff came from missals. Matter of fact, I think I have my missal here. Yeah. Catholic Family Daily Missal. And for every day, every Sunday, every feast, it's already preordained, it's already scheduled. And it's been a while, so I can't remember exactly. You would have what's already preordained, and then you would have the sermon. And the sermon supposedly reinforced that, but it was so regulated, it was so scripted, it was so preordained that I got very disillusioned by it. And I stopped going to the Catholic Church. And then after high school, I immediately married, and my husband went into the Marine Corps, rejoined the Marine Corps. Yeah. And so we traveled all over the place. So depending on where we went was, I eventually ended up getting us into a church somewhere. So it's a varied background, but there was a lot missing, I felt. I felt it was very inhibiting, and the God I feel I know, he creates galaxies. Why are we putting him in little boxes? There's a whole universe out there that he's responsible for. This body is not his only creation. You look around, everything is his creation. Why do we put him in confine him in such a small box? And then the Son of God, who is Jesus, is the same as God, just as the Holy Spirit is the same as God. I'm still learning this part. It's different aspects of the same, but they're all one. Okay? I guess in a way it's like I have my mom qualities to deal with my kids. I have when I did acting and stuff, I would have that aspect of myself to in order to do whatever acting that I did, which was always just community stuff and low key. So, I wear many hats. So, like I said, I'm still figuring that part out. But going to church was always, I wanted to go to church, but I wanted to learn more. And I wasn't learning. I wasn't being fed. I was being yelled at. I was being, my flaws were always thrown in my face. I don't know how to put it into words, but I wanted to hear more about Jesus. I wanted to hear more about what he said, not what other people said about him. I wanted to know what he wanted. There was a time when we lived in California. This is back in the late 70s. Good Lord, I'm old. Anyway, we lived out in 29 Palms at one point. This would be in the 80s. This would be, because we went to Okinawa in 80, came back in 82 or 83, somewhere around there. That's when it was. And I was watching one of the religious TV shows, and I got really confused because they kept stressing something. It was like, well, yeah, we already did this. Already been there. I understand that, and it was like, why do you keep emphasizing this? So I said, heck with that. I want to find out for myself. And so I opened the Bible and I started with the Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. I started there because that's where you hear what Jesus said directly. Out of all of the books in the Bible, that's predominantly what Jesus said. And so I started there and kept on reading all the way to the end, to Revelations. That's a trip and a half. And then I started over again with Genesis and read all the way through from Genesis to Revelations. And there's all these little light bulbs going off in my head. And I'm going, oh, I remember that. Oh, that's what that means. And, I was really understanding a lot, but I had to sit down and do it myself. Since then, some other interesting things happened, but I'll go through that another time. But I find myself back in that place again where I need to search it out for myself. And I'm listening to some people online, and they're making good points, and they're stressing the personal relationship between yourself and God. Once you accept Jesus as your Savior and acknowledge what God did for us, it's just like in the beginning when he made Adam and Eve. He made Adam and Eve for companionship. But then they ignored his rules, and he had to punish them. But he still wants that personal relationship with us. And in these times, with all this stuff going on, it is so important to, at the very least, whether you go to church or not, at the very least, start talking to God and start praying to him, asking for help, for guidance, asking for forgiveness for any sins, from the smallest, I really misjudged that person, to, actual crimes. Acknowledging who he is. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. The Lord's Prayer is a guideline for our prayers. Everything that's spoken in the Lord's Prayer is how we should pray to him. And he already knows what you need, but he needs you to ask for it before he gives it to you. Otherwise, he would be a spoiling God, and God doesn't like spoiled kids. Spare the rod, spoil the child. He doesn't like spoiled kids. We have free will. So therefore, he's up there waiting for us in our free will to come to him, to confide in him, to put our sins out there and apologize for it, repent, and to ask for what it is that we need. And all of it should be in his will, because he sees the big picture. We only see not even that much of what the picture is. So that was a long way to In Search of the Loving God. Is a very good book to explain a lot of this. Right now, in the chapters that I'm reading, Power Games of the Western Church, how things evolved, how things got to the state they're in now. It's almost like a history book. And you find out which pope did this and which pope did that. And it wasn't until like the 300s AD that, I believe that's when the Catholic Church was formed. Constantine was the first one to pull Wicked Sidereal. That's an interesting name. I do a variety of content. Right now I'm talking about In Search of the Loving God, which is the book that I'm reading. And I'm discovering more and more how, because I've always wondered, well, how did that happen? Where did this come from? How much of the Bible is the way it's supposed to be, or how much has been tinkered with? And I know other people who have wondered the same thing. So this is a real good resource book that will answer some questions, and at the very give you a very overall view of history in relation to the Christian work and the books of the Bible. So I'm really enjoying this, and I highly recommend it. It's by Mark Mason, and it's a great, at the very least, like I said, a resource book. So, Wicked, what are you up to today? It's very extremely hot where I am. It's like 98, 97 degrees. And someone earlier said it was -3. And I think they were in Yemen. Is Yemen a high mountainous area? I don't know. So anyway, that's what I've been yakking about right now. And I'm also yakking about, I'm working on getting one of those background things so you don't see my wonderful, the background of my wonderful room. And I have a new camera coming and already have the software that will enable me to do that. So it might be a little more enjoyable to look at. I watch other streams like Red Pill 78 on YouTube and the Mac Files on YouTube, and there's others that I watch that they don't do anything special either, but I just want to spice it up a little bit, make it look a little bit better. So what are you doing on this day, Wicked? I've talked about, well, I don't remember what year it was I started, but my grandson helped me originally to start Tea and Talk Time, which was a way for me to express myself and get my voice out there, because the older you get, the less you have a voice, it seems, because everybody focuses in on the younger group and ignores the older group who actually learned something the hard way, and I think have a good, is a good resource to tap into. So I did that for a long period of time, and we watched Critical Role, and so we have some interactions with my grandson where, you know, we were talking about different things on Critical Role, which is a D&D role-playing group. And what else have we done, or I've done? So just recently it dawned on me to do something that was just a little bit more focused. So I'm working on that. And this regular stuff is just me bouncing around and talking about this, that, and the other, and it's not really focused. What do you normally like to listen to? What catches your eye when you're browsing the chatting section? And I'm sure it's not old people rambling. I've had people pop on and go. They pop in because they see this old person. And they're going, "What are you doing on here?" And like, the reason I got here was because of Critical Role and watching them. I think they're outstanding people. And I love the game. I love the creativity of it. I think it's a great way to vent your frustrations in character form and relieve a lot of stress and tension and stuff like that way. I think it's a great exercise with the mind. What just dawned on me just now was, if you don't flex that creative muscle and you come across a situation, how do you figure a way to get out of it? if you don't flex your creative muscle, then how can you think outside the box? How can you go past just what you've already experienced? And I think that's where a lot of inspiration comes, and I think that's where guidance from God comes, is using that creative muscle. All things are possible with God. All things. So there's no limits with him. So why are we limiting ourselves? So anyway, that's one reason why I like playing role-playing games. Hi! Domo! Domo dude, you're back! Good to see ya! Let's see, are you the one that was doing the skiing? I was invited to go skiing the last time I was on. And it didn't dawn on me until afterwards that it might have been an invitation to join somebody virtual skiing, a skiing game. Well, missed out on that one. Can you see the cat in the window? I don't think you can. There's the cat in the window, laying down, and then my doggie just stepped in, and out she went. I think you saw her tail. Oh yeah. Are we back to where we need to be? I think so. Do you have a cat, Domo? I don't remember if we asked you that before. We asked someone else that before. I'm not much of a cat person. It's an entirely different breed. They're more aloof. They're more independent. They're more sassy. And it has to be their idea. You want to do something, well, they'll deign to do it with you. Whereas dogs are usually, in your face. They're happier and have less boundaries and are usually more cuddly and stuff. My current dog is a rescue. She's 8 years old, so I've only had her for less than a year. And she's Akita, Chow, and Husky, and might have some Shepherd in her. But she's not the warm, fuzzy type, which I kind of miss from other dogs that I've had, but they haven't all been warm and fuzzy either. But she seems happy, and that's the most important thing. Her tail wags when she sees me. She's always happy. When I pull out of the driveway, the bedroom that I have right now, she can see me in the car when I'm leaving. And there's this one eye looking at me. She's looking at me in the car, and then, I drive past her, and she just, that's it. Make me feel guilty. So, oh, will you stop? So anyway, the big difference I see between cats and dogs is that I think it's boundaries. Cats have a lot more boundaries and decide in what space you're allowed to enter, and dogs are usually more happy-go-lucky. And okay, we're gonna do this now. Okay, can we go do this? No, we can't. Okay, and they're kind of like that, in my mind, anyway. So that's really about all I had to say today. I wanted to fix the strange things that was going on with that. And then Monday, I should have the new camera, and we can see how that works while I try to get new backgrounds going, because I guess that the new camera focuses in on, what's right in front of them, and then you can put a background behind you without having to have a green screen. And that seemed less complicated to me, unless I buy a green sheet and throw it up there and yeah. The less technical I have to get, the better. Because this brain, under normal circumstances, has a lot of holes in it. But having to relearn technology and go through things over and over and over again, it can be difficult for an older person. So this is Nana getting ready to say goodnight for now. I'm going to thank everybody who stopped by. It was so great to see y'all. And Domo, it was nice to run into you again. And I hope y'all have a really, really great evening and a great weekend. And, hopefully we can touch base again someday. So until that happens, I hope everyone takes care. And until we meet again, God bless.